working, and she gets just enough to pay her rent. That's all. That's all. So we've got the zakat money already to build a little hut for her where she can do some business. She has a certain profession, she can practice something, and she can earn her livelihood, inshallah. So I thank you for having sent me your zakat, and no need to send any more zakat. We have enough now to be able to do what we want to do for these sisters this year. I feel so happy about that. The next announcement is for those who've already ordered my sets of books and have already paid for them, and you've been waiting for the longest while. You've been so patient, mashallah, so patient. But the books are packed. The boxes are there waiting to be mailed, but they cannot be sent until postal services resume. So do please bear with me again for a little while. Postal services have not as yet resumed. Yes, we can use DHL or FedEx, but that is so expensive you're going to get a heart attack because books are very heavy. If you have not as yet ordered a complete set of books of mine autographed by me, then it's now too late, because as soon as the lockdown ends, I'm going to have to travel, if Allah so wills. I don't know whether I'll be allowed to travel, because I am not going to be vaccinated, no, inshallah. So if I can travel, then I'll be traveling as soon as the lockdown ends, and I won't be back for many a moon. No? It's only when I come back after travel that I can again take the time to autograph. It takes a long time to autograph a set of books. So you'll have to wait until next year to be able to get a complete set of books. But by that time, there'll be more books in the set. But if you want to send me your name and address, your telephone number, and put your name in the list of order, then of course you can do that. And I'll just put your name there in the list until I come back. My travels have all been suspended, and I'm not planning any travel anymore until the lockdown ends. But for Pakistan, I'm also suspending travel to Pakistan. My books are now being printed in Pakistan, alhamdulillah. And when they're all printed, the complete set of books will be available for you in Pakistan at a fraction of the cost of what it now costs to buy books. And you will not have to pay the expensive airmail from Malaysia or from Trinidad to Pakistan. So alhamdulillah for those who are helping me to meet the cost of printing my books in Pakistan. This is a dream that is coming true. And an effort is now being made to print all my books in India, to print all my books in Bangladesh, to print all my books in South Africa. MashaAllah, in my old age, all of these are now coming to pass. But our brothers in the team for India, our brothers in the team for Bangladesh, and our brothers in the team for South Africa, they need help. So if you want to offer a donation to help with the printing of the books in India, in South Africa, or in Bangladesh, send me a mail and I'll put you in direct contact with the leader of the team, and then you can make your kind donation to help with the printing of the books in these 3 countries. Yes, we have a project of an Institute of Islamic Eschatology. I tried to establish such an institute in Malaysia. I tried for several years. We got the land, we put up some buildings, but the religious authorities in Malaysia would not allow me to keep that institute except underneath. I can't bring it out in the open. I can't have more than, say, 10 students. They cannot be registered, nothing of the sort. They blocked me and they blocked me and they blocked the religious authorities in Malaysia, not the government. And so now I have closed it in Malaysia, and I'm now trying to do it in Pakistan. So if you've donated for the institute in Malaysia, remember, whatever funds we get now from that property, we'll use it now for Pakistan, inshallah. And may Allah open a way. May Allah open a way, because there are many who don't like me. They don't like the way I call a spade, yes? So there are many who would like to block me. But if Allah opens a way, then none can close it. So an Institute of Islamic Eschatology, inshallah, will be established in Pakistan. And my books will soon be published in Pakistan. Okay, I have some good news that my latest book, The Quran and the Moon, Methodology for Monthly Recitation of the Quran. Alhamdulillah, it's finished. Alhamdulillah, it's finished, yes. And I'm now doing just the formatting, and then we have a cover design, and then this book will be printed in bulk, in huge numbers, inshallah. I would like to see 10,000 copies printed for free distribution only in London. Another 10,000 for free distribution only in Birmingham. Another 10,000 for free distribution only in Manchester. You see? Like this. And if you are one of those who have promised me that you will support me, then do please make a contact with me, send me an email, because we can, the bigger the order we give to the printry, the less would be the cost. And then the books will be shipped to each one of these cities and distributed free of charge. The Quran and the Moon, Methodology for Monthly Recitation of the Quran, and this may just qualify as the most important book I've ever written. And alhamdulillah, it's just 100 pages. I'm very proud about that. Just 100 pages. The e-book will soon be on my website, probably another few days from now. So you can download it and you can read it while you're waiting for the book to be printed, inshallah. And I'm going to rename the companion volume, which is Methodology for Study of the Quran, and the new name will be The Quran and the Stars, Methodology for Study of the Quran. You know why I've used that term? Because of the ayah or the verse in Suratul, which one? Which one? Suratul Waqiyah. That's right, Suratul Waqiyah of the Quran. What does Allah say? بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. MashaAllah, this is such a powerful, powerful, powerful verse of the Quran. Oh my gosh, it shakes you up. فَوَرَبِّكَ. No, not this. What does it say? فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ. And I take an oath, O Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, by the positions in which the stars are located. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ. Mawakin from makan, place. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ. And I take an oath by the positions in which the stars are located. وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَّمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. And this is no ordinary oath, O Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. This is the mother of all oaths. This is a tremendously important qasam or oath. What is it? إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ فِي كِتَابٍ مَكْنُونٍ. This is surely a recitation which is noble and generous. And this recitation is located in a book which is protected. لَا يَمَسُّهُ إِلَّا الْمُطَهَّرُونَ. None can touch this book except those who are pure and clean. This is not muhkama, meaning physical touch. This is mutashabiha, meaning none can even penetrate as much as touching the knowledge of this book, except those whose hearts are pure and clean and who are faithful to the truth. Yes, who are faithful to the truth. So that's why this book will be now renamed with a new name, The Quran and the Stars, Methodology for Study of the Quran. During this Ramadan, and now even when lockdown is ending, here in Trinidad, the announcement has just been made that next Jummah, the lockdown will end, so we'll be able to have Salatul Jummah in Trinidad and perhaps also in other parts of the world. Excuse me. Which makes it necessary for me to explain the difference between a valid salat and a bogus salat. For those of you who consider me to be rightly guided, it's very easy for you to understand, but for the cattle and the sheep, it's not possible. They will never understand. A valid salat is a salat which is performed in accordance with the law given to us by Allah and His Messenger. That religion must not be changed. No. And on Judgment Day, the followers of Prophet Muhammad, Allah's blessings be upon him, will feel the heat of Judgment Day, and they'll have thirst. And he will be standing by Kawthar, a fountain of water. And he'll be giving us water as we come to him. And that water will quench our thirst on Judgment Day. But there'll be some who will come to him for water and he'll refuse to give them water. And in another hadith it is Allah who says, don't give them any water. And they will ask, O Messenger of Allah, but we are your followers. Why aren't you giving us water? And he said, you changed the religion after I left. So this is the way of salat that he has given to us. Do not commit bid'ah to change the way of salat. If the way of salat cannot be performed in accordance with the law and the religion, what do? Do we change the law or do we suspend the salat? My students will understand very easily that we will suspend the salat so that on Judgment Day we will get water. They who want to change the salat because the Minister of Health says, no, you have to stand 3 feet apart from each other. So these sheep and these cattle will stand in the masjid 3 feet apart from each other, and they will call that Salatul Jummah. And they will call that Salatul Eid. And some of the sheep and the cattle will perform the Salatul Eid in their sitting room. And on Judgment Day, no water for them unless they make tawbah. That's right, no water for you on Judgment Day. You change the religion. We will not change the religion, we suspend the salat, as I did. I had no Salatul Eid this year because I would not perform Salatul Eid in my sitting room. And I will never, inshallah, ever stand for salat 3 feet apart from each other for a salat bil jama'ah. I'll never do that. I will not betray the religion that our Prophet left for us. So this is what has happened during Ramadan. And now that the lockdown is ending, they're going to tell us you could perform your Salatul Jummah, but you must stand 3 feet apart from each other. And all the sheep and all the cattle will do that. But you and I, who want to remain faithful to Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam and faithful to the religion, we prefer to flee with our religion flee to the mountainsides and to places where rain falls, and take with us some sheep and goats, but we will not change the religion because Tom, Dick, and Harry tell us to do it. Now, this then is the announcement that I wanted to give to you today. And before we finish, and we go to George Floyd, excuse me, so many people are now calling upon me because there is this recognition of the validity of my scholarship now. They've been closing the doors on the masjid to me, but the virus has caused so many people to recognize that I am correct in my explanation of the reality of the world today, which is eschatology. And so now people want to study my books. Around the world, there's a thirst now to study. And they want to know, Sheikh, what is the order in which we should read? You have so many of them. Give us the order. Let me do it once today, and I hope I don't have to do it again and again and again and again. So please, please, please keep this video safe so that you'll know what is the order in which the books should be studied. Now then, I suggest you make two divisions. One is the general books on general subjects, and the other one is the books on the end times, eschatology. This is a set of books that I left here with IBN, but some books are no longer here. I don't know, somebody took them. So I have nearly all of them here, but some are missing. Now then, the ones who are the general books, this is the most important, my teacher's book, The Quranic Foundations and Structure of Muslim Society. You have a lovely box, mashallah, and it's in two volumes, and they're very thick books here. So these two books, The Quranic Foundations and Structure of Muslim Society, written by my teacher, Maulana Dr. Muhammad Fadlur Rahman Ansari, these are the two books which must be studied. It'll take a lifetime to study. It'll take a lifetime to study these two books. But take your time and read them whenever you have the time. We've run out now of print. We have to reprint the book in Malaysia, and that'll take some time, and that requires some money as well. So if you don't get a copy, when you order your sets now, we'll have to try to get a copy from Pakistan. This book, the two books on the travelogue, such an interesting travelogue because they are nice to read. They're very easy to read. So people they're hungry for the travelogues. So now I'm going to have to tie my belt, and the next time I travel, I'm going to have to take notes every day, so I can write another travelogue, maybe the last one in my life, another travelogue. So I suggest that you keep this for easy reading whenever you have the time. This one, the 2003 travelogue, will be out of print, and we're now reprinting it in Malaysia with a new cover design. These are the easy reading. Isra and Miraj has to be reprinted. Fasting and Power, it's an easy book to read. Islam and Buddhism is my first book ever written, first book, and my teacher ordered me to write this book. It's general, so it's good to get an insight into the religion of Gautama Buddha. I have great love and respect for him. Iqbal and Pakistan's Moment of Truth is a very important book. The Religion of Abraham and the State of Israel, I am now editing this book. It was written about 25 years ago, and I'm now editing this book to bring it out in a new edition with a new cover design. So then those are the general reading. Now these are the books on eschatology, And I would recommend this order in which you read the books. The first one is the bestseller, Jerusalem in the Quran. I suggest you begin with this book if you want to study Islamic eschatology or ilmu akhir zaman. This book was written in the late 1990s, 1998, 99, 200. And it was published in 2001. And then I wrote out a second edition in 2002. So this is the first book to read on Islamic eschatology or ilmu akhir zaman. At the heart of this book, at the very heart of this book, is the hadith that when Dajjal is released, he will live on earth for 40 days. Yawmun kasana, one day which will be like a year. Yawmun kashahr, one day which will be like a month. Yawmun kajum'a, one day which will be like a week. Wasairu ayyamihi ka'ayyamikum, and all the rest of his days like your days. All his days meaning all the rest of his days like your days. And I recognize this to be three stages in his life. Three parts of what the Quran refers to as a shadow. Intaliku ba'da uzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Intaliku ila zillin zi salasi shu'ab. Suratul Mursalat. Proceed to a shadow which will have three parts. And I recognize the three parts of the shadow, that in stage one, or the first stage of the shadow, there'll be Pax Britannica. This is the first circle, Pax Britannica. A Malay artist designed this for me. And in the second part, within the second part of the shadow, the second stage of Dajjal, would be Pax Americana. Here it is. And you can see from George Floyd that Pax Americana is now in irreversible decline. It's collapsing. And then comes the last stage of the shadow, the third part of the shadow, where you have Pax Judaica, when Israel seeks to take over from the United States of America as the next ruling state in the world. If you believe it's China, fine. I don't. So this book is an introduction to Islamic eschatology. I would suggest the next book after that to be Gog and Magog. And the test, the very test of anyone who wants to explain Islamic eschatology is Gog and Magog. Dajjal is a far more difficult subject, but this is the test. Gog and Magog. If you cannot penetrate the subject of Gog and Magog, you cannot teach Islamic eschatology. Forget it. And this book, An Islamic View of Gog and Magog in the Modern World, is my effort to explain that subject. So this is the second book. The third book I would like to recommend to be read is Surah Al-Kahf in the modern age. I had a dream of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, indicating that Allah had, in His kindness, had blessed me with knowledge of this surah, Surah Al-Kahf of the Quran. And this book is my attempt to explain the stories in the surah, the four stories. I don't like the word story. The four important events of the surah. Number one, the young man in the cave. Number two, the rich man and the poor man. Number three, Musa alayhi salam and his encounter with Khidr. And number four, the great traveler Zulkarnain. And these four are mentioned, explained in detail in this book, Surah Al-Kahf in the modern age. In this book, I also devote a chapter to the Quran and time. And you could see when I wrote the chapter, you can see Imran is now struggling to understand the subject. I'm still in the infancy stage. It takes a man like my teacher, Maulana Fadlur Rahman Ansari, rahimahullah, to teach the subject of the Quran and time. And then after that, here is explaining Israel's mysterious imperial agenda, explaining to you Pax Judaica. And then comes my 2 books on Dajjal. So far I have more books to write on Dajjal, but thank Allah, the 2 are already written. Dajjal, the Quran, and Awwal al-Zaman, and the Quran, Dajjal, and the Jasad. These 2 books are very important for explaining and understanding the subject of Dajjal. But may Allah help me to be able to write the other books that need to be written, even at the age of 80. Signs of the Last Day in the Modern Age is a collection of essays I wrote over the years on various subjects pertaining to the reality of the world today. And as you read about the reality of the world today and the oppression all around the world, you see today, the corruption in the world, you see the signs of the last day, signs of the last day in the modern age. Then I would suggest on Khidr. Over there in Surah Al-Kahf in the modern age, we were introduced to Khidr. This is a delightful little book, only 1 hour to read this book. In search of Khidr footprints in Akhir Zaman, you have to look for a Khidr in the world today. A man who is walking in the footsteps of Khidr alayhi salam, and follow such a man. He has a different scholarship from that which comes from the Darul Uloom. The scholarship of the Darul Uloom is inadequate to deal with the reality of the world today. The Darul Uloom graduates are at sea. They can tell you about history, they can tell you about the law, but they cannot explain to you the reality of the world today. They don't know anything of what's happening in the world of money. And this virus has come and slapped them on their faces. So read Khidr, In Search of Khidr's Footprints in Akhir Zaman. And then the Caliphate, the Hijaz, and the Saudi Wahhabi nation state will tell you something about politics and political philosophy and the history of political thought in Islam, what happened to the Khilafah state. Constantinople in the Quran explains Akhir Zaman, that there's a great war which is coming, and the next event to take place after that great war is the conquest of Constantinople. That's what our Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam. And he praised the army, and he praised the commander who will conquer Constantinople. That's why they changed the name, and they put the name Istanbul, so that you'll forget the name Constantinople. You see, you understand now? Nobody uses the name Constantinople anymore. I had to take the name out of the museum and put it back on center stage with this book. And they can't hide anymore, they can't run anymore, because Constantinople is coming back to center stage now. People are waking up. And this book explains Constantinople in the Quran. What does the Quran have to say on the subject? I'm not going to tell you, read the book. And then, because Constantinople will be conquered after the Great War, you should read this book on the Great War, the Quran, the Great War, and the West. If you are living comfortably in the United States or in Canada or in Britain or France or Germany and so on, Belgium, and you have no desire in your heart ever going back to Egypt or Morocco or Algeria or Pakistan or India. Who wants to go back to hell? We're living in heaven. Read this book, the Quran, the Great War, and the West. And the importance of the prohibition of riba in Islam, a very important book for Akhir Zaman. Because in Akhir Zaman, in the last age, the Prophet said that there'll be the age of Dajjal will be the age of kathratul riba. And there we are today. He said the time will come when you will not be able to find a single person in all of mankind who will not be consuming riba. And whosoever says he's not consuming riba, verily the dust of riba will reach him. Verily the vapor of riba will reach him. This is where we are today. And this book is simply introducing the subject, how important it is. I have the other books to edit, the prohibition of riba in the Quran and Sunnah, the book on Islam, Dajjal and money. They're still waiting there to be completed, to be edited and to be published, to be added to the books on Akhir Zaman. But one big book on Akhir Zaman, which I finished half of the book and it's been lying there for 2-3 years now to finish it, from Jesus, the true Messiah, to Dajjal, the false Messiah, a journey in Islamic eschatology. I finished probably half of that book, and I have the other half to finish. Please make dua that book can be finished. This one complements the one on riba, the gold dinar and silver dirham, Islam and the future of money. This was written before cryptocurrencies came. This was written before I could understand the petrodollar monetary system. So I need to bring out another edition of this book as well, where I can incorporate the petrodollar, Islam and the petrodollar and beyond, and the cryptocurrencies and bitcoins and so on to this book. There's another book in Akhir Zaman. Medina returns to center stage in Akhir Zaman, a very small book. To understand Akhir Zaman, our Prophet said that in the end time, the dreams of a believer will seldom fail to come true. You won't believe the number of people who keep on writing to me, telling me of their dreams, including people who are having dreams of Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Yes, someone just wrote to me maybe a week ago. He had a dream of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And when I read that dream, I said to him, the Prophet came to you to give that dream to you, to send a message to me. Yes, because in the dream the Prophet never spoke. He simply wrote, and he started writing. He who cannot read and cannot write, he was writing from the right to the left. And I said to myself, that's a message from him. He's saying to me, Imran, tell the people that the proper way for us to be people of the right hand, Ashabul Yameen, is that we write from the right to the left. We read from the right to the left. And Dajjal has come with this modern Western civilization to teach us the opposite, that we must read from the left to the right, and we must write from the left to the right. And so this is an important subject, the strategic importance of dreams and visions in Islam. But please don't send me your dreams, everybody, because I cannot interpret dreams. Let me say it one more time. Allah has not blessed me with the knowledge of the interpretation of dreams. Yes, sometimes I can read a dream and immediately Allah can bless me, I can recognize it, but that's very rare. Most dreams I can't interpret. So when you send me all these dreams, what can I do? What can I do? Do please read the book. It's a very important book. If you never dream anything that's good, if you never have any good dreams, any true dreams, your heart is not in the right place. So then this book is also important for Akhir Zaman. I don't have it here, somebody took it. Methodology for study of the Quran, which we now rename the Quran and the Stars, methodology for the study of the Quran, the one which I've just completed, the Quran and the Moon, methodology for recitation of the Quran. And these two must be added to eschatology, okay? I don't have them with me here. And here are three more. Alcohol is going to raise its head in Akhir Zaman, and today alcohol is sweeping the world. And this is the Quranic method of curing alcoholism and drug addiction. How should we live in Akhir Zaman? One Jamaat, one Amir. And I have to pay tribute. I have to pay lasting tribute to the memory of Dr. Israr Ahmad, rahimahullah, and Maulana Abdul Ala Maududi, rahimahullah, who demonstrated, mashallah, with brilliance, how to organize a well-disciplined Jamaat. Maulana Abdul Ala Maududi, rahimahullah, established the Jamaat Islami. And Dr. Israr Ahmad, rahimahullah, established the Tanzim Islami. I was a member of the Tanzim for several years. And I enjoyed, oh yes, being a member of such a disciplined Jamaat. It was beautiful. And I still have great love for the Tanzim Islami in Pakistan, in the United States as well. So one Jamaat, one Amir. The organization of a Muslim community in the age of fitan, and here is a Muslim response to the attack on America. The Prophet said that in Akhir Zaman there will be great liars. There will be great liars in Akhir Zaman. People who tell monstrous lies. And I have said that there are three kinds of lies, but I now have to make it four. There are normal lies, there are great lies, there's 9/11, and then there are the fabricated viruses, which are going to come upon us now, one after the other. And they succeeded with the first one, they'll come with many more viruses again in the future. And every time there's a virus, there's a lockdown, and you see them with their face mask, and with their hand gloves, and with their social distancing. But you and I will flee. We don't want to be a part of that Jamaat. No. We want to live in a place where there are no face masks. We want to live in a place where nobody wears gloves except in winter. We want to live in a place where people abhor social distancing. So even if we have to flee to the mountainsides and to places where rain falls and take with us some sheep and goats, where there is no Salatul Jummah and no Salatul Eid, but we'll flee there to protect our religion. So let them come with their viruses. We're heading out of the towns and out of the cities. And so now in the little time we have left, let us turn to George Floyd. Bismillah. And I make these comments particularly for the supporters of one of the political parties in this country, which has unfortunately betrayed its founder and has now become a client of the oppressor, the United States of America. Many of the members of this political party and people who support this political party are my friends, and they have respect for me, and so I hope that they would not mind my sharing with them my views on George Floyd. And my opening statement is that the United States of America is now collapsing. And we, the rest of the world, who have been badly beaten and brutalized and oppressed by the United States of America for years and years and years and centuries, we can only say, praise be to Allah, that the chickens are coming home to roost. That they who have been oppressing mankind for so long are now collapsing. And their own children, the people of the United States of America themselves, regardless of color and race and religion, are all rising up now in an insurrection that is causing the power structure to shake and shiver in the United States. This is Allah's kindness. We thought that they had been brainwashed. We had given up hope for them. That the media, the television, and the radio and the newspapers, and those who own them, shamelessly, people with no sense of shame and no fear, have been peddling lies and writing lies and brainwashing the people, using the TV, using the newspaper, using the radio to shamelessly brainwash people and hide the truth and put the falsehood in the clothing of truth and put truth in the clothing of falsehood. They take the wolf and they make him look like a sheep. And they take the sheep and they make him look like a wolf. This is what you've been doing with the media. And journalists who sing for their supper should be ashamed of themselves. And so we who have suffered all these years from American oppression, particularly in Venezuela, now we say, thanks be to Allah. Thank you, Allah, that the oppressor, his crown is toppling. Yes. What happened in the United States was nothing new. They've been lynching the black people in the United States, the oppressors, most of whom were white, but not all white. No, not all white. And a larger number of white people in the United States are now recognizing the truth and coming over to support the oppressed. But the black people in the United States were slaves. They suffered the worst form of slavery mankind has ever experienced. There's always been slavery. And when Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came in the world, there was slavery. So what did he do? He never abolished slavery. No. He said, before you seek to dismantle slavery, before you do that, you must recognize the humanity of the slave. You must treat the slave as a human being before you release him and free him. So these were his golden words. Tell this to Washington. He said, give your slave the food to eat that you eat yourself. Tell that to Washington. He said, give your slave to wear the clothes that you yourself wear. These words are like golden words in the ears of the African American people, who even though slavery was abolished, they still remain slaves. An unequal society. There is a discriminatory way of applying power. The Prophet ﷺ said, no discrimination. Even if my daughter, I know there's some people who object to this, but this is the hadith. Don't tell me I can't quote it. He said, even if my daughter Fatima were to steal, cut off her hand. Now you can't tell me what hadith I can quote and what I cannot quote, so shut up. He said, if my daughter Fatima were to steal, cut her hand. These are golden words of the Prophet. Golden words. Meaning a non-discriminatory application of the law. That's how the police should be. Not that you must be the police of Pharaoh, that you will protect the oppressor. That's what the police have become in the United States. And this man was a poor black man, and the white officer put his knee on his neck and choked him to death, as though the white officer didn't have a heart. He had the heart of a beast, and the other officers who were around him watching him, they had lost the heart of human beings. They'd become the hearts of beasts. And how do we explain this? The Quran explains it. The Quran says this is Gog and Magog. And this is a subject I was explaining during Ramadan when I ran out of time with Eid. So when I come back, inshallah, next week, we'll have the session for your telephone calls from wherever you are in the world. And then after that, I'll return to complete the subject of Gog and Magog. But just to give you a taste. Gog and Magog are human beings. They are people. They're not some strange people living in the interior of the earth. Forget that nonsense. They're human beings. And they are human beings who are endowed with power. Indestructible power. Only Allah can destroy them. But they use their power to corrupt and to oppress. Everything they touch, they corrupt and they oppress. The political system, the market, the economy, the monetary system, sexual relations, the educational system, the military, everything they corrupt and destroy. That's what modern Western civilization has done. And Gog and Magog would be recognized because a town which Allah has destroyed, and He expelled the people of that town. And then He placed a ban on them. They could never return to that town, never, 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 to reclaim it again as their own, until Gog and Magog have been released. And when they are released, they spread out all over the world. Then those people will be returned to reclaim that town. Which town is it? My answer, which I gave 20 years ago in this book, is Jerusalem. And my answer is correct. The Quran is saying that when you see the Jews being brought back to the Holy Land to reclaim it as their own, 2,000 years after they were expelled by Allah, the people who bring them back are Gog and Magog. And that is the explanation for what was done to George Floyd. And that is the explanation for the oppression of the African American people who are still slaves. That is the oppression, the explanation of Western slavery of African people, to use them to build a new Babylon in the Western world. So please turn to the Quran to study Gog and Magog. And until next week, inshallah, for our session, where we're going to have telephone calls from all over the world, you can call in. I hope I can get a microphone to listen, because my hearing is declining. So we'll be able to answer your calls and also hear your views on the virus and the lockdown and Salatul Jummah and Salatul Eid. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.